Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early, daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. It's Saturday. Hope you guys have a good weekend planned. I'll be coaching all day today till about 6. Then I hope to watch the Miami game tonight against Kansas City. Let's talk about breakups. Breakups are hard. Breakups are harder on men than on women. And men have a hard time getting over a breakup. You ever notice how your ex, she seems to be doing good, but you're still all messed up over it? You see her a month or so after the breakup and you're still moping around, and she seems like she's moved on just fine. That's common. When I was homeless many years ago, a common conversation when you're a bum is to ask other people why they're homeless. What's your story? Of course, everybody's on addiction, everybody's on drugs, everybody's addicted to drugs, and that's the number one reason. So you don't really have to ask, you can tell. You're an alcoholic, drug addict. Of course you're homeless. But what drove, I would say 99% of the people on the streets, at least the men, what drove them to a life of drugs and wanting to be in the streets all the time was a breakup. That was the number one thing. Their wife or their old lady broke up with them and they didn't handle it well. I did the exact same thing. I was engaged to be married to this sexy little blonde chick when I was about 21. I thought she was my dream girl. We had dated since high school. We were high school sweethearts. We were like the longest couple out of any of our friends. And everybody figured, you guys are made in heaven, Adam and Eve, and you're gonna get married. And I gave her a ring the size of a basketball, down on one knee at the beach. Funny thing about that story, I mean, it was so perfect. I was down on one knee in my leather jacket. I had long hair. I was giving her the ring, asking her to marry me in the sand. And this nerd, this dude comes up to us wearing glasses and dressed in his little Izod shirt. And he's got a big, giant camera. And he says, "You two are by far the most interesting people on this entire beach." He was like, "Can I take some photos of you for the California Board of Tourism," or whatever he called it. And he said, "If your pictures turn out well, we may use them on a billboard promoting the state of California and promoting tourism, if that's fine with you." And we signed model release forms and agreed to it, and he took the photos. And I told him, I was like, "You gotta send me some of these photos." And he was just like, "Well, you could see them on the billboard." And I said, "No, I need one of these because I just asked her to marry me. That's what's going on here. We're not just down here on the beach. You see, we're both wearing boots and leather jackets. We're not here to sunbathe. I just asked her to marry me." And he was just like, "Oh, wow," you know. So that whole day turned into a special day. It really felt like it was meant to be. And a year later, was it a year? Yeah, maybe 2 years later, she had cheated on me with like 10 of my friends. We broke up in a horrible way, and it was like a Mack truck had hit me. I didn't see none of it coming. I'm still lost in this fairy tale Disney movie that I'm living in, and bam, I get run over by reality, man. Dumped. I should have done my research a little bit better on this chick. I went and complained about it to a buddy of mine who had known her longer than I did, and he was like, "Well, of course she's a whore. Nobody understood why you fell in love with her." So I kind of took it weird. I almost took it like my friends had betrayed me in a way, because if you guys knew that she was such a dirty whore, why didn't you say nothing, man? I got lost in that pussy, punch drunk off that pussy. Somebody could have been like, "Dude, don't you know who you're fucking with?" I didn't know. I fell in love with her as hard as you could fall. Point is, after we broke up, I didn't handle it well either. I was all tore up. And I was going through a hard time in my life. I had legal issues, court cases, multiple court cases, criminal court. I was running with the gang, and about a month before we broke up, I got busted in a raid with the sheriff's Green Team Gang Task Force. So I had that case on me, and I was free. I wasn't incarcerated, but I had that looming over me, that case. So things were kind of hitting the fan for me. I wasn't doing well financially. I probably wasn't a very good boyfriend. But nonetheless, I chose to just go live in the streets. I probably could have hustled a little harder. I probably could have found somebody to give me $200 and maybe I could have made rent. I said, nah, fuck it, I'm just gonna go live in my van. And I went homeless. I chose to go homeless, to become a vagabond, a traveler. And it turned out my story was just like everybody else's. I got dumped. I was on drugs. I was weak and broken. And I didn't really see stability as my savior. I slipped into a depression, a deep, deep, deep depression. Felt completely alone in the world and just kind of wandered around like a homeless bum. No, I'm not unique. Jason Momoa is currently doing that. You know, the actor. Everybody says he's Hawaiian and he promotes Hawaii hardcore, but did you know Jason Momoa grew up in, Iowa? You'd never guess that, did you? He doesn't promote Iowa too much, he promotes Hawaii a lot. I don't really care for his movies. I don't give a flying fuck about Aquaman, but I do like the fact that he's a biker and he's got a lot of motorcycles. Now, I don't know what he does with his motorcycles, because he's supposedly, you go read the article, it's in the paper, he got dumped, or he and his wife, I don't know if he got dumped, I don't know the story, but him and his wife broke up, and she was much older than him, 12 years older than him. Lisa Bonet is older than I am. She's 58, I think it is, something like that. She's 12 years, I believe, at least a decade, more than a decade older than Jason Momoa. Now that, in my personal opinion, is probably why they broke up. They may have a whole bunch of issues. I bet you it all goes back to the fact that they're not even the same generation. She's my generation. He's a young boy. You young boys don't want to get involved with older women. Stay away from older women. Date within your age range. But Jason Momoa is living on the road, man. He's just living on the road because of a breakup, just like I did. My dad did the same thing. Maybe that's where I got it from, as my reaction. Well, my dad did it. This is what you do. When a man is upset, he gives up his stability, gives up everything, goes out in the streets and lives like a vagabond, like a vagrant. When a man has a few things go wrong, he becomes all pouty, goes into an alleyway and decides to ruin his life, and that's his new home. His new home is on the sidewalk. He calls it freedom. And wherever my head lays down is my home. Wherever I may roam is my home. He's just a liar, a depressed liar. I was. I'm sure Jason Momoa he's a millionaire, so he's not sleeping in a van on the street like I was, but he's probably sleeping in hotel rooms that cost $5,000, $6,000 a night. But that's still homeless. You can be homeless in hotel rooms. I know people that are doing that right now. As we speak, I'm coaching a guy who's living out of a motel. That's such a waste of goddamn money. I understand it. You get stuck in it. But it's no kind of life. Anybody out there, any man out there who's living on the road, and your story is that you went through a hard breakup and this is your response, you need to find your strength. I was going to say you need to man up and kind of be a little edgy, but I'm not going to badmouth you. You're already broken. You need to find your strength. Find where that strength is. And you're going to use that strength to pull yourself up off the street. And you can do this in one day. It only takes one day to get off the street. You don't have to plot for a year. Oh, another 6 months, I'll be off the street. No, it could be one day. And all it takes is your choice and some hustling. But you make that choice and you can do it. And you need to find your strength and to create some stability in your life. Find a home, a place where you can put all your stuff, a place where you can invite the next woman. She don't want to come and sleep in your van. I found that out. You know how hard it is to date? When I was dumped, I was single. I thought, hey, I'm a good-looking guy, and sure, I'm going through a hard time in my life. I could find somebody else, right? Plenty of fish in the sea. Oh, when you're a bum, when you're a vagabond, women do not want to come and hang out in your van. I tried it once. I got one chick to come hang out in my van. We went down to the beach. We sat in the van and looked at the moon, and it was fine for a little while until she realized that this is all there is. We're not going home. This is home. When she goes back to her apartment and her life, and she was in college, I'm just going to be sleeping in the van here. And it turned very sad. At least I could tell that she was very, I don't know, disappointed, but felt sad for me. That's no way to go into a date, is when some chick feels sad for you, like you're a stray cat. So find your strength to pull yourself out of your depression, because that's what you are. You think you're free, you're depressed. That's not freedom, that's depression. You're running from something. What you run from will always chase you. You're running from demons. Demons run faster than us. We can't outrun demons. Find your strength, find stability, and move on.